So this Caesar Guarini originally came in for a gun fit. Yes, there's an adjustment to be made. Left-handed shooter, cast on. This is an annoying thing. Look at what I found. There as well. Oh, flipping heck. If you enjoy the content, don't forget, like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. This is soaking in oil, right? Soaking in oil. That's when these kind of cracks increase. And he's not going to get an expedited job now. Sorry, chap. Not happening. Right. Absolutely dripping in oil. And this is before I bend the stock. So don't go trolling me and saying, oh yeah, you shouldn't have bent the stock with all that oil. Well, I don't add oil, I usually drive them out. So this is now an epic fail. And there's next to no wood there to strengthen it. It looks really bad. Okay. So with consultation with the customer, we press on. I'm going to need to prop that up somehow. Probably the weight of some acetone in there would help. And ultimately we'll get the job done. So now you can see I've got some displacement going on with some inert metal objects. That is soaking nicely. I just need to put a vapor block around the top to stop it evaporating too much. That's fine. Yeah. There you go. A Molotov cocktail. Haha. Well, there's a lesson to be learned here, folks. No good deed goes unpunished. And that's because this chap, a few days before Christmas, wanted his gun adjusted, a stock bending, that was all it was, a nice simple job. Ha! Who knew? Hey. And as you can tell, before I can bend the job, there's another part to this job, but let's not get too far into that. Let's get ahead of ourselves here. This needs stabilizing using the good old super glue method. And then I need to put a bridge across there. And the quickest and most effective way is to use two-part epoxy, and I'm going to steel reinforce it using steel wool because it's a reproducible repair. And as you know, the channel is about could you do this at home? And this side not so bad, it's just one joint repair. Will clean up beautifully, it'll be fine, absolutely fine. Now, some of you must have been shouting at the camera and thinking that's really quite a brutal job. Why don't you get out your cutters? Well, this is one of those, really, I hate them. I can't state it enough. This is the laser cut method. And if I start putting those cutters through, it'll change the appearance. Whereas that small blemish, I can work on a little bit later on, and that'll clean up and you'll never notice that was there. How do I know that? Just ask me. It's not the first rodeo. And that is just a little bit of a slight blemish on this, what is rubbish checkering. This is laser checkered. I don't like it at all. It just about serves its purpose. Anyway, that'll be cleaned up a little bit more, but I wanted to show you that because it will improve with a bit more work, but it'll look less noticeable. So if I can zoom this in, it looks a little bit rough because there's still a bit of rubbish in there, but just quietly clean that up. That'll be fine. If I remember, I'll show you before at the end how it looks. And you see these joins, they're stabilized for now. It's all good. Now I've got to put a bridge across there and a bridge across there. You can hardly see the join, look, but it's there nonetheless. A bridge across there, and I'll go into why in a short while. Well, in keeping with the channel, I've made a very sharp little cutter, and what I'm planning to do is use that to make the cuts, like a small channel that I can glue up. And also I reckon I could use it to clean this up freehand if I give it a little shot. Maybe, I don't know. If I can capture it for you guys, I will. We will only know if it worked. Oh, that's right on top of me. I'll only know if it works. Now I'm going to have to work close to my hand, so don't freak out. Don't troll me with letters. Please don't. It gets a bit much. Well, there you go. It doesn't show the depth, but it is deep. It cuts in. And what I'm going to do is make a resin insert there that will be bonded permanently to that. And that's how you get around it. So I was thinking in terms of what I would do when I didn't have a workshop and a mill. This is actually quicker than setting up the mill. And that's all it is a focal point, focus, just a little cutter like that. And it works an absolute treat, and it's almost as precise as milling it out. And let's be honest, I'm going to fill it with resin. I'm going to clap the top plate on it with some release sorry guys. Okay, so there's the stitch there and there. So I'll have to clean up on the back inevitably, but this is in pursuit of a near invisible repair that actually is strong, using steel. This is now becoming a bedding job. Only difference is I will not be using something as brittle as acrylglass. I will be using a generic all-purpose epoxy resin with hardener. I will be embedding some of our trusty steel wool into it, and in order to get a good bind, I'm just roughing up this surface here and here. Now, because these are going to be fitting over the top, I'm going to put mold release agent, or as we call it, boot wax, and all over this. This will be a high strength bond. It goes off within 5 minutes, and it will be awesome. And this will need to be left to be cured overnight, because obviously I need to get a stock bend in this, and that was the original job. This is the job that job became, if it makes sense. Kind of makes sense to me, at least. Right, so let's get on with it. Alright, so with a polypropylene lid from a takeaway, my favourite butter knife, which I always tend to use for these jobs, some epoxy and some wire wool to hand. Obviously I want the strands to be complete, and I want it to be so that I can pack enough in. Better make sure I've not got any get this in contact with the mold release agent, shall we call it. Okay, that's ready to set. Okay, so that's how it looks. Once they're relieved, they are clear. Now, these have had a slight clean-up, obviously, because they had to take these off quite quickly and then degrease them rapidly. I don't want all this gunge on them straight up, permanently. And it is quite fraught when you're going through the setting process. These will be cleaned again. This is now ready for curing overnight. I'll pull these off here, and I'll have to trim and clean that excess that's built up inside there, clearly. But it will be done after it's cured. I'm not disturbing it anymore now. Oh, there you go. It is stuck fast. There we go. Right. So you can see where it's penetrated. There and there. And that will be left now to set. Okay, so progress has been made. And this is now rock hard now. Oh, hard as iron even. Haha. So things are looking up. Starting to get better. So first things first, get some stain going. See what this will do to the general appearance. Because obviously it's all a bit blanched at the moment, isn't it? With all the sanding and cleaning and scraping and whatnot. Yeah, that looks all right. That's not bad. Let that dry for a minute. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pleased with that. That's the beauty of these old guns. They do take us. This walnut is beautiful for taking a stain. It's not an old gun really, is it? It's oldish. Right. Let that dry for a minute. Okay, so let's persevere with this. Let's get a little bit of shellac polish on there just to seal it and grain seal it. That'll be great. See how that takes. Obviously I avoid the checkering wherever possible. So that gets rid of all that bleaching and drying, seals the grain. Nice. Just let that dry. Okay, right, so dried, a little bit shiny. Obviously we don't want it to be French polished. So I'm just going to remove as much of that as we can so that it will take the oil, but only enough oil to seal it and not to soak it. Okay, so if you look at this here, you can see how easily with some blocks of wood you can bend a stock. And it is a significant bend there. And there we go. One repaired sees a Guarini Maxim. Moral of the story though, I shouldn't take work in when people say they've only had it done last serviced 8 years ago. Just saying. Thanks guys.